Hi and welcome to the next video of using SQL Server Project in Visual Studio 2013. So in the previous video I have explained how we can take advantage from the SQL Server project in a Visual Studio and how we can create tables, create stored procedures, and we can make changes. And then I have showed in the previous video that how we can publish our database to a local database server, local SQL server, and then I have showed that how we can keep track of all the changes that we do in the existing database. So in this video I will demonstrate how we can take advantage of pre-deployment and post-deployment scripts. So as the name itself is self-explanatory, that pre-deployment scripts will run before any of the deployment actually occurs, and the post-deployment scripts run when the deployment of the database has been completed. So these are the two very powerful features in which we can write some of the scripts, and we can write some methods or stored procedures, or we can execute some queries, SQL queries, um, to populate the data in different tables, and that data can be the seeding data, and we can also populate most of the data that is basically a test data, so during the deployment. So I will continue to the previous project, and that was the project about the customer orders, and I have made few changes to organize the structure of the files and folders. So I have created three folders. Publish profiles contain all the profiles. So as you can see that one of this profile is for local DB, and this is the second profile which I have created for the Azure DB. Similarly, I have created post deployment and pre-deployment folders in which I have already added uh, pre-deployment and post-deployment scripts, but I'm going to show you, let me show you how we can add them. So right click on this folder, add, and then click on script. So in this dialog box we have a couple of options. So as you can see that we can add a post deployment script and a pre-deployment script and a normal script or a simple script. So we can rename them as we want. So I already did that. In a pre-deployment I have added a script, and which the name of the script is pre-deployment dot customer orders. And similarly I have added a post deployment script, and its name is post deployment customer orders. So whenever we start publishing our project or deployment of this SQL project, so these scripts will gonna automatically run. So that's the beauty of these adding these scripts. So now all the structures of the tables are which I have added before are the same. Only this new table I have added is countries table, and it has only one country ID and the name of the country. So now because we need to seed this table once we start the deployment process. So in the pre-deployment script, what I did, I just simply checked from the information schema that whether the country table exists, because this check is mandatory, because if I have a plan to delete the database and then recreate that, so in that case, um, if I simply write this statement without this condition, so what this statement will throw an exception or error upon deployment, because it will not find the countries table in the schema. So what this condition is doing, it's basically ensuring that if the countries table exists in the database, then it will delete the data from the countries table. So what it will do, once we start the deployment process, then this script pre-deployment will gonna execute, and it will delete all the data from the countries table. And in the post deployment script, what I did, I just simply added the insert statements in the country table. So all of the name of the countries will gonna be added. In this script I have added the insert statements, so we can do any of the we can add any of the SQL transact SQL statements in this post deployment script. So what it will do, that after creating the database tables, it will execute the script and populate our countries table with the seeding data. So now let me okay, I have also created a separate profile for Azure database. So let me show you that I have already created this database in my Azure subscription. Let me just um, open my account. So as you can see, I have this customer orders database already created in Azure, and using this connection string I can refer to this Azure database using these connection string settings. So using these settings I can save my published profile. I can, in my published profile, I can connect to the Azure database and I can save them. I can use these connection strings in my Visual Studio in my SQL Server Management Console, and I have also connected over here to the database. So as you can see from here, we can, if we if I'm gonna refresh this database, so currently there are no um, tables in this database. So let's get back to the code, and let me explain you about this published profile. So if I double click on this published profile, so as you can see, this the data server is the one which is mentioned in Azure, and this is the user ID, and my password is also in this connection string because I have connected it through it using these settings. And I have uncheck this always recreate database option because the database is already there. So now when I click on publish, so what it will do, it will start publishing the database to Azure DB online. But before doing that, one more thing I want to explain, which is a bit important. Right click on the project file and just click on properties, and you have this target platform. So previously, in my previous video, as I have shown, that once we are deploying this to a local instance, and that was SQL Server 2012, but now we are deploying to Microsoft Azure database. So I have selected this one, and I need to uncheck this enable extended transact SQL verification for common objects. So this is mandatory because this thing is going to be eliminated in future databases from Azure. So right now, when I was deploying using this checkbox option to checked, so I was getting some error. So now I have unchecked this and I have saved these properties, and now I'm going to deploy that. So I just double click on my Azure publish profile and I click on publish, and it start publishing. So it will take a bit time because it's using the internet connection to publishing on Azure. So now it started publishing, and it is giving the messages. So now checking the existing data against a newly created constraints, and it has been published successfully. So now if we go to our management studio, and if I refresh this database, and as you can see, these tables are getting added in the database. And if we see the countries table, if we execute this query, just a second, let me again new query, and I will write the query. And now when I run this query, so it will give me all the seeding data which I have populated using these statements. One thing to notice is that I just only added the name property, the ID, because ID is a primary key, and if you see the properties, the ID is auto incremented, and identity specification property is set to true. So it has populated all the seating information in the SQL Server within the countries table. So that's it for this video, and I hope this videos will gonna help of all the programmers. And thank you very much, and have a nice day.